Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday here at Namaste, Lake Chapala. As always, such a gift, such an honor to join with such holy and mighty beings. Hold on, someone's not muted. Here we go. And as we allow our eyes to adjust and see and remember who it is we walk beside, and to give them that gift, we are able to receive it for ourselves. This is why we're here. And so this morning, as I just reflected and meditated, I received a couple of visions that I wanted to share with you that I think help us to remember who we are, why we're here, and remember our home, the home that we never left except in our imagination. So this is what I wrote this morning. Let me find it. There it is. Okay, so take a deep breath and see if you can really absorb this. You are like an eagle raised by sparrows. You look around at your sparrow family and say, I am that. And in doing so, deny that you were made for the open sky. You were meant to soar, but instead, you stay close to the earth, afraid to fly higher than the other sparrows you see all around you. You could also be likened to a giraffe raised among zebras. A great famine came to the land, and the grass close to the earth began to die, and so your zebra family starved. If you only remembered that you can reach higher than all these others, high into the trees where the leaves are still growing abundantly, you would then be able to break the branches and let them fall to the earth so that your entire family can eat and thrive. You are like a great king who struck his head and wandered outside his castle, naked and alone. The people you encounter, not knowing you're of royal blood, scoff at your nakedness and ridicule you. After some time, you find a dirty cloak and wrap it around yourself, and for years, as you starve like these others, you look at the castle gate, wondering what it's like inside. Open your eyes and see who you are. Fly amongst the heavens and reach high into the trees. Most of all, stop wondering what it's like inside the castle, which is your real home. Simply show up at the gate, and the guard will recognize you, then welcome you inside. I love little stories and parables like these. This is why Jesus and so many other great teachers always taught with stories, because they help us to see in a more simple, childlike way who we really are and why we're here. This idea of being a great eagle with wings that were made for the open sky, but being raised with a family of sparrows, so you never leave the earth, never fly higher than the trees. Or the zebra with a long neck that can reach high into the trees, where the leaves are still growing abundantly, yet you stay close to the earth because you think that you're a zebra. Did I say that right? I think so. Most of all, being like the king or the queen or someone of royal blood who knocked their head and had amnesia and forgot, wandered out naked and forgot who they were, and chose to live a destitute life, wondering what it's like inside the castle. And I love the end where it says, just show up at the gate and the guard will recognize you and welcome you inside. That's all you need to do, is show up at the gate, even if you're naked, even if you're starving, even if you don't talk totally remember yet, just show up at the gate. The gate will open wide, and you'll be welcomed home. So maybe today there'll be other little stories or parables that come into your mind to remind you who you are, what you were made for, why you were born, your royalty, the great vast abilities that you have to soar and to lift. And if those stories come to you, treat them like gold because they are. Treat them like gifts from heaven because they are. Allow them to stir something in you, a memory that reminds you. And then, of course, don't forget to share that, because the truth is, we're all eagles, we're all zebras, or giraffes rather, and we're all of royal blood. We were all made to soar high and to return to the home and the heaven that we never left, except in our imagination. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Vicki and see what she would like to share around all of that. Good morning, Vicki and
Hey,
Teddy.
Jimmy. Good morning, everybody. Morning, Jimmy. I love the stories. You and Jesus have got that parable. You're one of the most gifted storytellers I know. Any of us know. So thanks for the stories. And you know what it sparks in my heart is that anyone who has come into something, some sort of grace, and that things are not what they seem, whether they have followed some tradition or non-tradition, that once they start to awaken to inner presence, and that is that universal experience, then we're naturally the giraffe, and we know how to feed the zebras. We know, without belittling the zebras, but appreciating them as our family. It was a great story. And not to be, and I've had to learn this myself, especially in this recent passage through the house, not to be, to take it personally that a giraffe isn't appreciated as a zebra. And but to keep feeding the zebra family, keep feeding, and we feed with our joy first and foremost. If I had any consistent message through this whole recent time that we've been in, through the pandemic and through all the politics, it's that in order to stay focused, we have to stay present in the immediate now, because that's the only place for direction. And we have to keep a pitch of joy. That between that pitch of joy and staying immediately present, and that doesn't mean like yesterday's lesson, not to look at the conflict when it shows up, to be with it, but to not engage with it, not to entangle, not to no enmeshment with it, to look at it in order to move through it and not lose that focus on joy and the focus on the now. The giraffe will not know where the next bush is and until the very moment of now, and then it appears because he has the height to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So the message for me right now, and I love all the examples, is that generosity of spirit and appreciate everyone. Everyone is a mighty companion. Their eyes may not have opened yet, that we're all giraffes. And temporarily, if we're living with a zebra perception, that's temporary. And let's be joyous that without words and without lots of doing, by our nature, we generously feed and nourish the whole zebra world around us. By our presence, if we stay in joy, that's what the nourishment is, because joy comes from that inner contact with our own divinity. And that's the food that we, and the nourishment that we give one another. So that's what I was thinking.
Beautiful. Yeah, stories
Thank
are
you.
such a beautiful way for us to really hear this message, because
Yeah.
it's not filled with theological or deep spiritual concepts. It's just simple stories, and And I love telling them, and I think we should do that more often. In fact, you reminded me of something I meant to say at the very beginning, which is just to remind everyone that, there are those among us here in this group who are very long-term Course in Miracles students. But there are many of us who are not. Course in Miracles is not their path at all. And it's important for us to realize this is not a Course in Miracles meeting, that there are many people who sometimes feel like, they're having the course, or at least the words, constantly presented in a way that they're unable to hear it. And the truth is, we don't need to ever say a word about A Course in Miracles. This is a great example of this. These stories, this way of being. Of course, there's only one truth. There's only one teaching. But I just wanted to remind everyone that we have people amongst the group who A Course in Miracles is not their path at all. Some of them have come to me. This is the reason I'm saying this, and expressed that. So we want to keep this as universal as we can. That's why stories like this can be so helpful. So thank you, Vicki. And
Thank
Teddy,
you,
you want
honey.
to share anything?
There is in the course it says, "Forget this book." He basically says, "Forget this book, forget the pet." And there's a certain thing. It's like I'm in a condition right now, or a moment, where there is really only now, and the only way that can occur is by looking at the past and what occurred, admitting to the occurrence, and then looking at it anew to see that it wasn't what I thought it was, so that the future is not like, so the future is different from the past, and we can live in the now. And it doesn't matter what your experience is, the certainty that as we grow or as we live, everything changes, so that when we do look at the past, it's always different. It's got nothing to do with the course. That's just the way life is. And when we have an experience, as I had, where you recognize there's no world in the entirety, and none of this is true, it's like you're able to release it, because there is something that is true that has nothing to do with the past or the future, and the beingness is right here, right now, and the sharing of that beingness is the opening of heaven's gate, so that we can all enter as one, because we all are one. And that's got nothing to do with any discipline, any sort of intellectual. That's just the way it is. And
Amen.
we can see that and experience that without any discipline whatsoever, just by the willingness to sort of like look at our own lives and see what has gone on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was thinking at the moment where it says, where an ancient hate becomes a present love, and that's it, because there is only love, and everything is going to be a present love, because there is only the presence and there is only love, and we can live in that space if we want the future to be unlike the past, and for there to be only love, which
Yeah.
that's all there is anyway.
Exactly. Lay everything else aside. This morning, as I usually do, I was reading the email that Richard Rohr sends out every day, and he was talking about the younger generation, many of whom call themselves spiritual but not religious. And they just simply are not attached at all to the dogma or doctrine of any particular form or religion or path, but they find the core. Oh, hello, Noreen. Oh, so good to see you, darling. This is Vicky's sister.
Ditto, ditto.
Oh,
Ditto,
There you
ditto. Just
go.
sending you a ton of love. Miss you.
thank you,
And
honey.
keep
So
on
good to
going.
see you.
Yeah.
This is a great example of exactly what we're talking about. Someone who lifts above all form, doesn't have any need for any particular discipline, but finds the core that's at the very center of them all and lives it. Noreen hates when I call on her and says, Noreen, talk to us a little bit. She doesn't want to talk. She just wants to beam, and in that way, she's like Vicky. And this is what it's all about. Who cares what the form is? It's not about a religion or a book or anything else. It's about beaming with that light and letting it shine bright within us And if we can do that, as Teddy said, lay aside this course, lay aside everything, and come with wholly empty hands. I love seeing, oh, you two look amazing with the light behind you. Noreen, come visit us more often. We would love to see you. All right, let's open it up and see who else would like to share something. Hey, Noreen, you want to share anything while you're there?
I just want to share that I found an incredible flyer that you had out one of the first times you performed. I'm going to text it to you. It was a flyer like 20 or 30 years ago.
Wow.
And so touching. And then I found some letters from you and a beautiful poem. It was like incredible. So I've been feeling you so deeply through this whole process.
Oh, I would love to see that. That would be beautiful.
Okay, I'll send you a text.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, you get it
All right.
later. I miss you and I love you.
Love you too, darling. Okay. Who else would like to share anything? Just go ahead and raise your hand or just unmute yourself. If you're related to the stories or anything else, call Dave. Go right ahead. Oh, there, Harvey. I see Harvey there as well. Harvey, we'll come to you in just 1 second. Go ahead, call Dave.
Yeah, so a few things. A lot of we've been talking about this week has been doing things backwards from what maybe we were originally taught or what the world is doing or the ego believes in. And what keeps coming to me is that the word evil is live or live spelled backwards. And I mentioned some time ago that the word sin was actually an archery term and it means off the mark. And evil is also an archery term. It was the same thing. It was when you missed the bullseye, the archer would yell out, evil or sin. And that's all it is. It's just, we're off the mark. No big deal. And it's also in Aramaic, that word, which was the language that Jesus spoke when he said, or when Henry VIII, who translated the Aramaic Lord's Prayer into English from the Latin, said, deliver us from evil. Jesus was using the Aramaic word, which just means off the mark. So that was one thing I wanted to say. Another is that in the Jewish calendar, we're just about at the midpoint in the holiest 10 days of the Jewish tradition, the high holy days, between the New Year, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. I like to call it the Day of At-One-ment. I know it's not everybody's path, but I think what Jesus said was there arose a thought in the mind of the Son of God at which he forgot to laugh. Mm-hmm. And that thought was that we were separate. So when I actually love Yom Kippur, I love the Kol Nidre, the ancient prayer, because the liturgy is my favorite. And so that's why I go to sing those beautiful chants. And I remember there was one time, and what you do is you go through this whole litany, the sins we have committed and this, and the sins we have committed and that, and da, 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 da. And one of them is the sins we have committed in commerce. And I remember one year, in front of me, there was this row of teenagers sitting. And when we got to the sins we have committed in commerce, they started kind of snickering and elbowing one another. And then I realized that one of the schools in New York is the High School of Commerce. And these kids were all students from the High School of Commerce. And they remembered to laugh. I went to the High School of Music and Art, and I don't think there's anything about committing sins in music and in
That's the
art.
key, isn't it? Just to remember to laugh. Thank you, Call Dave. And if we could just remember not to take this too seriously and just to learn the lessons that we're given joyfully, it becomes so simple. So thank you, dear
And
one.
I did want to just because talking of stories, I just wanted to read this Rumi poem. I think I sent it to you. I have lived on the lip of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on the door, trying to get in. It opens. I've been knocking from the inside.
Yeah, knocking from the inside. That's great. Thank you, dear. And I want to go real quick to another nice Jewish boy, our friend Harvey. Hey, brother. This is
Hey, how's it going?
this is
Hey,
Noreen's
James.
husband, Vicky's brother-in-law. Good to see you. You want to
Hey,
share
James.
anything with us?
It's just that I live close to the water, so I can throw a lot of stones. so, so real close, like 100 feet. So anyway, it's great to see you, and you look well for being in the cave, and looks nice. And I just want to maintain my continuity. I'm the most grateful person on the planet, and gratitude is the most best thing you could ever live with. And be grateful for what you have, and be grateful that you don't have what you don't have.
That's right.
That's right.
So it's as simple as that. Gratitude is everything.
Amen,
True. And
brother.
he lives
And
that.
that's
He
well,
lives
that's
I
today.
know he
There's
does.
the light.
He lives it.
Yeah.
Today's the day where there's the same amount
Oh,
of
it's-
light.
it's-
as the
So
same
So simple.
it is. It's everybody makes it complicated and baggage. But I meet up with people that are carrying around a simple thing that happened to them for 5 minutes 30, 40 years ago. And they go on and on and on about that 5-minute thing 30, 40 years ago. And the people are already in the ground, and they go on and on and on and on. And they remember names. They remember the exact incident. They carry that. So that's at their forefront, and they can't let anything else in.
And it wasn't
Nothing
that
gets
way
into their
anymore.
brain or their body or their mind except their baggage. Get rid of it so you have something new. Vicky's an expert at it.
Yeah, she is. she's
So
like a duck. It all just kind of rolls off her back. That's the way we should all be.
I got to get going here. I get some things to do. I got to run. Love you.
Good
And
to
it's
see you,
great that I
Javi.
bumped into you like this.
Love you, brother.
Okay. I take care.
Nice to have you show up, and Noreen.
All right.
Yeah, we love you, Jimmy.
All
Blow
right.
you big kisses and hugs.
Bye-bye. Come back again, you guys.
Yeah.
Good luck with the house. All right.
Well, that reminded me of a story.
George with his hand up. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, it was in my mind a little bit before it just developed a quick story that fits in with this. And that is that there was at one time a monk who lived in a hermitage up in the woods. And he was told to escort this new monk that had come into someplace else. So he took him with him and he crossed the river, but we got to the river to cross it. And there was a woman standing there by the water. And the monk that had been there the longest said, "Climb aboard my shoulders, I'll take you across the water." So he did that and dropped her off, and they were walking, the other two monks were walking down the road. And after about a little while, he said, the one that was the new one said, "Don't you know that we're not supposed to pick up women like that?" And the other monk said, "Oh, I've been carrying you, I'd let her go way back there. You've been carrying her ever since."
You've been carrying her the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love stories. Aren't stories a wonderful way to really see the simplicity of this truth? We choose what we carry, and we can lay it down anytime we want. That's forgiveness, and that's grace, and that's simple. If we could just remember, that's forgiveness, that's grace, and that's simple. Lay it down. You don't need it. Like Harvey was saying, why carry around something for 35 years that happened for 5 minutes? Just lay it down. How about one more before we go to Namaste? Anybody else want to share anything? Yes, Myra?
This is so great, this joining and remembering to laugh. Maybe you can laugh a little at what I like to do, because I think the whole world remembers the Oprah Winfrey show when she said, "And you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car," right? Everybody knows that. Okay. I go to the supermarket and I say, Holy Spirit, are you ready? Let's go. And in my mind, and you are blessed, and you are blessed, brother, you are blessed, and sister, you are blessed, you are blessed, you are blessed. Happy shopping. That's all.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Myra. I love these this is a fun day. We got to do this more often. I think I'm going to go into storytelling mode at least once a week. Okay, Namaste. Let's go ahead and get you guys unmuted. Where are ya? You were there. Where did you guys go?
Okay.
Here we are.
Oh, there you are.
Hello.
I'm going to spotlight you. Hello, everyone. Dear family, good to see you. Anybody there want to share anything? Any inspiration? You enjoying storytelling time? All right, Rod, come on up.
Yeah, I just want to say I've enjoyed the little stories because those stories said the same thing to me. Now, the little creatures in the stories look very different, right? The giraffe, that long neck, look very different than the zebras. Or in the other story, even more so, the eagle with those powerful claws and huge wings looks nothing like that little tiny sparrow hopping around. But as you said, we are all the same. Now, some of us may choose the consciousness of a sparrow, and so we will look like a sparrow, while others recognize more of their true selves, and they will look like the big eagle. And the same thing is true of giraffe and the zebras, although I gave more credit to the giraffe because he was knocking the leaves down for his buddies. And so when we go into the land of the mystics, they're always telling us the same thing. Everything is consciousness, and it is our choice on how we want to appear.
Amen. Thank you, Rod. Anybody else there at Namaste want to share anything? All right, Bruce, good to see you.
I have a story to tell. A long time ago, in a faraway land, there was a guard on the city wall. One day, a traveler came up and hailed the guard, said, "I'm looking for a new home. What kind of people live in this city?"
Oh, yeah.
The guard replied, "What kind of people lived in your last home?" The traveler said, "They were mean. They were vindictive. They were always out to stab you in the back." The guard gave a sigh and said, "Well, you will find the same kind of people here." The traveler was discouraged and walked on. An hour later, another traveler came by and hailed the guard and said, "I'm looking for a new home. What kind of people live in your city?" Again, the guard replied, "What kind of people lived in your last home?" The traveler replied, "They were wonderful people. They were kind, they were caring, and if you had a problem, they would help you out." And the guard said, "Please come in. You will find the same kind of people here."
Yeah, that's great. Lovely. I love that one. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, everyone. Anybody else before we go? Anyone else have another story or any wisdom to share? Okay. All right, my dear friends. We are blessed. Without question, we are blessed beyond measure. And now that we realize that, we have to share it. We have to share those blessings. We have to live this. Oh, I see Jamie Lee's got her hand up. Hi, Jamie Lee. Did you want to share anything?
finally remembered to unmute. Hi, everybody. I just wanted a clarification because Jimmy, you know me, when my inner 4-year-old gets excited, because this is the part we have to ignite that returns us all to that knowing. And that's why stories are so great. Just that last piece, not the last piece, but right there before the last story, there was something cute I was writing down because I want to quote it because it was profound, but then I forgot the last part of it. We were just being shared, when we go into the law of the mystics, they always tell us the same thing. And then he so succinctly said what that was, and I didn't get a chance to write that down.
You mean what Rod said, yeah?
Yeah, Rod, what was do you remember the finale of that? Because your words were beautiful. There was about 4 or 5 words that succinctly said that, we're all choosing our consciousness, but your words were so eloquent, and I really wanted to use that. If anybody remembers how he ended
When
that
you go to
little...
the land of the mystics, it was something with that.
Yeah, they always tell us the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Anybody remember that? Any of you audio wired people actually remember that?
Rod, any idea what you said?
Just that, we got on mute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, hi, Rod.
Okay. What I was referring to, so this should be close.
Frozen.
No, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Everything is consciousness, right? And everything is consciousness. So therefore, we represent what we are thinking, what our consciousness is. So we're either the little sparrows, or we're the eagle, or we're the giraffe, or we're the zebra. And it's all where our belief system is, what our consciousness will represent and form. So that's what I said.
Yeah.
Choose, exactly. Yeah.
Bruce's story.
Does that help, Jamie Lee?
It did. In fact, the words came flying back, which was, when we go to the law of the mystics, they always tell us the same thing. Our consciousness is choosing. And that was the reason that's important to me. Is Rod, I'm going to quote you in something I'm doing this week, and your succinct way of saying that, and yet you just gave us a little more with what you said. So I didn't mean to distract this, but I really wanted to pull that back in because of something that I hope I can give some lift under some other people's wings this week with that. So
beautiful.
Anyway, thanks everybody. These stories are profound. Maybe we could have like story week, like something during the week.
I love telling stories, so
they're so fun.
These just kind of appeared in my mind this morning, so I went with it, but I'll see what else comes. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for a beautiful session. We love you so much. Let's just keep soaring like the eagle. Let's keep reaching into the trees so that we can feed the others. And let's remember that as soon as we show up at that gate, the guard is always going to remember you and say, "Where have you been all this time? We've been looking everywhere." All right, so thanks to all of you.